Clemson and Syracuse both have been surprising to start the year. Clemson's kind of on the bad end of that, and Syracuse has been on the good end. You're looking at a Syracuse team that is undefeated heading into this game. Clemson is 2-2. Very different starts to their seasons, but I think that they can make a statement here by having a good game. And normally these games at least in the recent past have been pretty close. So you could potentially expect a battle. But I think a lot of people expect Syracuse to expose themselves and show that maybe they're not the undefeated team that everyone expects them to be. Look at their game against Army. They were losing for a good chunk of the game before they came back. But that being said, Syracuse knows they have nothing to lose. They are still the underdog, even though they're undefeated in this game. Clemson is the more talented team, so they really have nothing to lose. It all starts with Garrett Schrader for the Syracuse Orange. Over 1,200 yards and 12 total touchdowns. I think we still have yet to see him hit his stride in this season. I think that you're looking at trying to replace a couple players. Ronnie Gadsden is gone for the year. So you're finding new weapons at the receiver position, maybe the tight end position as well. And then the rushing attack appears to be getting its footing. We just haven't seen them put it all together. And if they're able to run the football against a Clemson team that is very good up front, then I think Syracuse is in good hands. I think that they'll be able to move the ball well if that's the case. And running the football well against Clemson opens things up for the passing attack because Garrett Schrader is not going to be an elite passer, but he is definitely someone that can make an impact, that can use play action very well and find a way to take the top off the defense and open things up for his offense. Really take some pressure off of him and that rushing attack and force Clemson to kind of back off with that pressure. I think the biggest thing is how much can Clemson's defensive line create havoc? How often can they be disruptive in the backfield? Because, like I said, this rushing attack for Syracuse, very good. But if you're able to take that away, you almost force Garrett Schrader to be a pocket passer, and that is not something he wants to be. He wants to be an impact player as a runner. He also wants to be able to set things up through the air. And if you're able to take one of those things away, you force him to do something he's not comfortable doing. On the offensive side of the ball, last week for Clemson, I think was a good week. We saw them take a step forward as an offense, and you saw them get more comfortable. It just wasn't enough in the end. And there were certain little things that if you fix those things, you probably win that game last week against Florida State. One of the biggest things is I think you have to get Will Shipley the ball. The fact that he only has 388 yards and three total touchdowns is almost criminal. I think the fact that he is one of the best players in college football and you're not utilizing him more, at times you can even just force feed him and expect good things because Will Shipley is so good. They're trying to get him ways to touch the football, whether it's in the rushing attack, whether that's as a pass catcher, even as a returner. They are trying to find ways to get him the football. And I think you need to do that even more. He's one of your best players on offense. He is someone that can make a lot of big plays. We've seen that time and time again. You're looking at someone who's a special player. And if you're not utilizing that, you're wasting your resources. Yes, you obviously want to get Cade Klubnik and that passing attack going because that's something that needs to happen for the rest of the season. But you can also use Will Shipley in that regard. You can line up with Phil Maffa at running back if you want and put Shipley out in the slot if you want to. You have a lot of ways to get him the ball. And I know that there's a transition period right now of trying to figure out what works in this offense and what doesn't. It's more of a long game than a short-term game here, but Will Shipley still needs to get the ball more. I think if you're underutilized Will Shipley, you're just asking to get beat. And if you're not going to utilize one of the best players in college football, then I don't really know what to tell you. I think the biggest thing for both teams too is turnover margin. Syracuse is very good at taking the football away, and that is a big thing that has helped them in the past against Clemson, and it'll be a big reason why they win this game if they're able to pull off the upset. Turnovers are something Syracuse it continues to thrive at, and they're sitting at +5 for the year. Now, Clemson is sitting at 0 for their turnover margin, but this is a defensive front that can create some havoc and maybe force Garrett Schrader into some bad decisions. So +5 for Syracuse obviously also talks about their ability to take care of the football. This is a group that, like I said, if they can run the football, they're being in good hands. If they're not forcing to throw the ball, then they'll be fine. But if Clemson somehow finds a way to make them throw the football more than they're ready, then you're almost in trouble. You're almost asking for some turnovers to exist or to occur. So finding a way to get Garrett Schrader uncomfortable and finding ways to make him throw the football will be probably the biggest thing in this game. And like I said, Garrett Schrader is an absolute talented player and underrated. The fact that he has 4 less passing yards than Cade Klubnik, honestly surprised me. That's something I did not expect, and I think it's something that plays a big role. Being able to throw the football is the biggest thing for Syracuse. If you're able to throw the ball, you're in good hands. If not, it could be a long day. Cade Klubnik also has a lot to prove. 9 touchdowns on the year, 2 interceptions. I think that he has yet to look fully comfortable. We saw a little bit of his ability to throw the football well and be a factor last week, but I think you're still looking at a guy who needs to play better. He needs to take a step forward, and he has an opportunity to prove that against a team that's good at taking away the football. Taking care of the football, not making some boneheaded decisions and some poor decisions will be a big key for him. And I think you're in good hands if Cade Klubnik is able to take care of the football, and the playmakers around him will help him out. Maybe the wide receivers need some time to figure things out, but you at least have Will Shipley to utilize. The defense, though, deserves a ton of love, a ton of recognition because they have proven that even though they're not as good as they once were, they're still a group that can make an impact. The linebackers and Jeremiah Trotter and Barrett Carter are absolutely phenomenal. Xavier Thomas is having a solid season as well. So this defense has plenty to work with. For Syracuse, finding a way to replace Gadsden is probably the biggest issue they have. And Damian Alford is doing his part to make that happen. It's just that you can't replace him with one guy. It's going to have to be a by committee approach. And then you rely on your defense to do its part as well, because Clemson can put up points in a hurry now that they have some things figured out. I think you'll see a more up tempo group, group that's playing with a lot more confidence. And guys like Marlowe Wax and Justin Barron play a huge role in slowing that down. This defense lost quite a bit of talent up front and in the secondary as well. So you're going to see what these new guys can do. You can see what these new guys are made of, what they're capable of doing. And if they are able to rise up to the occasion, then you're looking at a team that has a chance to be in this game longer than people expect, or to be able to pull off an upset. I don't think that many people see Syracuse as a legitimate threat to Clemson, but we've also seen them in the past, and they've proven to surprise us. I think that that is definitely a possibility this weekend. I think that they have the potential to surprise a lot of people, but you have to get some things done. You have to be able to run the football. You have to be able to be efficient when you throw, and you have to be able to create turnovers. If you're not able to do that, Clemson will probably win this game. I think when you're looking at it, Clemson is definitely still the better team. I think that they are figuring some things out. Last week, obviously, didn't want to lose, but you found a way to fix a few mistakes that could turn into a win. Syracuse has yet to play a team of the talent of Clemson, and for that reason, I think the Tigers come out with a win this weekend.